Ok, no, pues gracias, mire. Entonces, un saludo ahí a Devon.
Okay. He says, hi, Devin, and thank you all for being on the call. Thank you.
Oh, thanks a lot. I appreciate everything.
Okay, thanks, Devin.
Okay, mire. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Okay, so now we're gonna switch over.
¿Mande?
No, ya terminamos esos contigo.
Okay, ya está, pues voy para el gimnasio. Nos vemos.
Okay, adios.
Bye-bye.
Okay, so now we're gonna switch over to the Gary Russell fight against Lomachenko. Once again, this is a world title fight. This is for the vacant WBO world title. Both Olympians. And to introduce and to say a few words on behalf of Lomachenko, I want to introduce to you Carl Moretti, Vice President of Boxing Operations for Top Rank. Carl?
Thank you, Eric, and thank you for the call. As Eric said, it's for the vacant WBO Featherweight Championship, a title that Vasyl fought for against Orlando Salido a couple of months ago and lost a controversial split decision. But we're obviously thankful to have the opportunity to fight for the world title again against a totally different style than Orlando Salido and a very talented fighter in Gary Russell. So we look forward to June 21st to raising our hands as world champion. And let me introduce his manager, Egis Klimas, and Vasyl Lomachenko. So Egis, please introduce Vasyl and translate anything he'd like to let the media know.
Hello, everybody. It's a pleasure to be here with you today. Egis Klimas, manager of Vasyl Lomachenko, and there is Vasyl Lomachenko here himself. Good day to everybody, and I'm happy to be here and to hear and to deal with it.
Okay, great.
Okay, hang on. Before we go further, I believe you guys are in a gym or somewhere where there's a lot of beeping going on. If you could try to stop that or get yourself in a better location, because it was hard to hear that.
Okay, so we're local. Is that better now?
Yeah, much better. Thank you so much.
It sounded like you guys were in a submarine. Yeah.
We're coming from Atlantic still.
Okay, that's Atlantic Ocean. Okay. All right. So thank you very much, Egis. Okay, so now obviously I'll introduce Gary Russell. Gary Russell's undefeated, 24-0, 14 knockouts out of Capitol Heights, Maryland. Gary is obviously one of the most talented boxers in boxing today. Very exciting fighter. He's also an Olympian. In his 24 fights, he's won pretty much every round of every fight. And he's getting his biggest opportunity, fighting for the world title. And this is the toughest test of his career. But as Gary's always done, he's gonna look to shine and to bring home the world title. So Gary, if you could like say a few words, please.
Most definitely. I appreciate you guys having me. Like you said, we are just getting out of the gym, man. It's our second workout of the day. We're ready in full force, and let's make it happen.
Great. Thank you very much, Gary. Okay, operator, you can open up for questions, please.
Thank you. If you would like to ask a question or have a comment, please press *1 on your telephone keypad. This will place your question in the order it was received. Once again, if you would like to ask a question, please press *1 on your telephone keypad now. And our first question comes from Len Satterfield with theringtv.com.
Hey, Gary, how you doing? How you doing, man? I'm doing well. First of all, you have been very critical of the fact that this fight is taking place, even though it is for a title. Have any of your feelings changed, or do you still feel that he hasn't earned his position in this fight?
Honestly, none of my feelings have changed. I feel as though I'm a firm believer in God, and I believe that everything happens for a reason. If this is the guy that we have to use as a stepping stone to navigate our career to a different level, then so be it. We're 100% ready. We're 100% prepared, and we're ready to make everything happen.
You also said in your past that this is a fight
where Top Rank is going against an Al Heyman fighter. Did you want to share any feelings about,
What?
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, like I said, I honestly, it's a big honor to kind of break the cycle of the Al Heyman and Bob Arum, Top Rank and Golden Boy thing, because I think you have these great fighters, on both sides of the fence that the fans would love to see, but don't get the possibility to perform or get an opportunity to see it because of, the ongoing situation with them. I think it's a big breakthrough for me and Lomachenko to be able to be one of the first to actually do it, and hopefully this will open the door for a lot of the other fights that the fans will want to see participate.
Carl, do you have any opinion about what he just said? I mean, he says he sees this fight as a breakthrough. Obviously, this is just one fight, and there's a lot, that has gone on in the so-called Cold War. Do you have any opinion about what Gary just said?
Well, I think that's what the media and social media likes to jump on. But, at the end of the day, I just can't see in the middle of the 6th round guys rooting for Al or Bob. It's a fight, and the fight is really, Lomachenko has to worry about Gary Russell, and Gary Russell's got to worry about Lomachenko, and anything other than that is just, Twitter talk, which people seem to love lately.
I don't think he meant that. I think what he meant was he sees this as a breakthrough of the best fighters that each stable has, and each has fighting each other. That's what I think he meant. I don't want to put words in his mouth, but I think that's what he was saying.
Yeah,
Exactly.
Hopefully it's the start of bigger things to come.
Okay. Next.
Now I do have a question for Lomachenko. Andy, yeah. Is he there? I guess he is.
Yes, we're here.
Can you talk about Gary's comments about, he has said in the past that Vasyl hasn't really earned his position to be in this fight. He didn't say it today, but can you address that? I mean, obviously he took a big step in going for a title in his second fight, professional fight. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Ты можешь что-то сказать по поводу того, что прокомментировал Гэри Рассел, что ты не заслужил быть в втором бою за звание чемпиона мира. Он сегодня это не говорит, но раньше в прессе он это сказал, что ты еще не заслужил место боксировать за такое место.
Сегодня, я думаю, по одному, после 21-го числа буду думать по-другому. Детально и объективно я смогу сказать это после 21-го числа, станет ясно.
Today I think from one point of view, and I see from one point of view, after June 21st, everybody will see from a different point of view, and we can talk more details after the fight is going to be over.
My last question for him is, and you as well, Aegis, given that this is his third professional fight, and he's in another big fight, there's a chance, is he facing kind of an uphill climb, potentially being 1-2 as a professional in only his third professional fight? I mean, is there any pressure that he's feeling?
Ты чувствуешь на себя какую-то ответственность, что если случится такое, что ты будешь один выигрыш и 2 проигрыша после 3 боев?
Я не чувствую никакой ответственности, не боюсь, потому что у меня в страхе есть уже положение.
Now I don't feel any pressure. I don't feel anything because I already have a one loss. I think Gary Russell is the one who needs to be thinking about that loss.
I thank you so much. Good luck on June 21st.
Thank you.
Our next question comes from Greg Smith with Black Sports Online.
Gary. How you doing today?
I'm doing pretty good. I'm listening to it with Lomachenko was saying. June 21st can't come fast enough, baby.
Yeah, that's what it sounds like. Now, real quick, you've talked about this being a state fight for you, Gary. And this is a great opportunity to capture a title. Talk about how do you keep your emotions in check heading in such a big moment in your career?
I feel like this is something that I've worked for so long. I think that it's destiny, man. I believe that some people's lives are just already planned out. You know, all I do is work hard. My family is my motivation. You gain all your motivation and energy from them. You know, my worst fear that I always talk to my little brothers is disappointment. You know, not disappointment from anyone else, but just disappointment from my family, my brothers, my mom, my dad, my wife, my kids, and etc. There's no one on the planet that would make me feel that way. You know, other than that, man, it's easy. It's easy, man. This is an occupation. This is what we do. This is something that I study. You know, I can't wait.
All right, thanks a lot for your time, Gary.
Next question comes from Dan Rafael with ESPN.
Thank you very much. Hey, Gary, how are you doing today?
I'm doing pretty good, man.
I'm good to hear that. Listen, you are 24-0, and you've obviously been winning all of your fights relatively easily since your pro debut in 2009. There have been criticism, though, that your opponents have not been, that good, frankly. And that Lomachenko, although he's only had the 2 pro fights, had faced good competition, real good competition in both of those fights. I mean, what's your thought on the criticism you've received about, not your talent, certainly, and not your victories in terms of how you've gone about this, but in terms of the lack of quality opposition that you've made so far in pro?
Man, it's going to be criticism anyway. My dad told me you can never please everyone. You know, it's our job. We wanted to get to maybe 23-0, 22, 23-0 before we competed for a world title. And one of the reasons why is based on the fact that you can be an elite amateur. You can be an elite amateur fighter, but when you go into professional, it's a completely different world. You're not going 4 rounds. You know, you're going 10, 12 hard rounds with guys that are, putting in that extra work. And this is the only way that you can gain experience, by getting these rounds in. And we don't want to take things like that for granted by not getting the rounds in. The criticism is good, but I think the skill level that we bring, like you say, the skill level was something that was never questioned. They question the opponents, and these are opponents that you learn on.
I didn't mean to interrupt you. You can finish what you're saying.
No, it's okay. Go ahead.
I was going to ask you, you said, so you've gotten to your goal, let's say, of getting to those 23, 24 fights under your belt before you step in to fight for a world title. But do you believe that on the way to the opportunity to fight for the world title, that there should be a fight against a top-level opponent, a contender, to earn that position?
Do I believe that? I feel as though it all goes back into the comfortability of the fighter, as far as the level of experience that you get in with. I feel as though that the experience that we got in with the fighters that we competed against was picture perfect, and it'll show up on the 21st.
Okay. Aegis, thank you, Gary, for that. I appreciate it. Aegis, are you there?
Yes, of course, Dan. I'm here.
Good to talk to you. Now, when Vasyl had his first fight on the undercard of Bradley and Marquez, he fought an opponent, Jose Ramirez, who was a very experienced guy, had pulled a couple of good wins, went overseas and scored a big victory against a good contender. Is it his opinion, between fighting Ramirez and Orlando Salido, a veteran world champion, that in just 2 professional fights, his opponent level has already exceeded the opponent level that Gary had fought in his first 24 fights?
Твое мнение, когда ты боксировал первый бой, Рамирес, он хороший был, действительно хороший был для тебя соперник, он был уже ездил где-то там, что-то выиграл, и потом ты боксировал Орландо Солидо. Твое мнение, что как бы уровень твоих оппонентов можно сравнить с оппонентами, которых боксировал Герри Рассел, 24 боя?
Ну, я не видел всех оппонентов Герри Рассела, но из того, что я видел, в принципе, это можно поставить, в принципе, уровень его оппонентов. Понятно, что такими как Солидо уровня он не встречал. Но как Хосе Рамирес, мне кажется, что тоже ребята были.
I didn't see all the fights Gary Russell, and I didn't see all the opponents Gary Russell. But as far as I saw opponents, I can probably compare few guys were close to Jose Ramirez, or maybe even to Jose Ramirez. But I never seen any of them being as far as the Salido.
Okay. My other question then for Vasyl is, he suffered the loss against Salido in a very competitive and tough fight. Does he feel like that experience, even though he's now just the 2 fights into his professional career, that he learned a lot in that fight that will help him when it comes time to fight Gary in the title fight coming up?
Бой Солидо, ты думаешь, что тебе дал много опыта? Yes, of course. Of course, I think it's a lot of experience.
Well, what kind of things did he learn in that fight against Orlando? Because those 12 rounds were, filled with a lot of things that he could probably go to school on.
One thing he learned to hit low blows. Hold on, this was a joke from me, but I'll ask about Vasyl. Hold on. Что ты думаешь, что ты больше выучил в этом бою?
Ну, конечно, привязанные приемы, привязанное ведение боя, как нужно к этому пристраиваться. Ну и мне кажется, что за эти 12 раундов я получил больше опыта, чем если бы я сделал там 2 года.
Of course, I learned how to adjust to the professional boxing because I never been in such a lot. But I think just fighting 12 rounds with Orlando Salido, I got experience more if I would be fighting just regular level guys for 2 years.
Okay, and just one other question for everybody here. You guys were both, Gary and Vasyl, both, great amateur fighters. Did you ever come across each other in the amateurs? Did you ever spar with each other? Did you ever fight each other as amateurs?
Когда-нибудь с Герри Расселом пересекался где-то?
Нет, он боксировал русским, которому проиграл, которым русским, если он через 2 года боксировал,
not only we had, I believe we had one opponent, both of us, we faced it in the amateurs. That was a Russian guy who Gary Russell lost and a couple of years later, I won that guy.
So the guy that Gary lost to in the amateurs, Vasyl beat, is what his recollection is?
Correct.
But Gary, you never sparred with him, right? You never fought him? Gary?
That might have been his line. Gary, you there? All right, Dan, stand by. We're going to try to get him back.
Okay, no problem. Thank you, Kelly.
Gary пропал.
I just figured they might have come across each other at some point, and all the great.
No, they never did. We never did the program.
Let me ask Vasyl one other question, then, Igis, while we're waiting to get Gary back here.
Yeah, so I'm back again. I'm back.
Oh, Gary, did you? I was asking before about had you and Vasyl ever encountered each other as amateurs ever fought each other, ever sparred? He said no. He said that he beat a guy that had beaten you a couple years earlier before he fought him. Do you have any recollection of that, or did you ever fight him or spar him?
Never fought him, never sparred him.
Said you had one common opponent.
I honestly don't even know if we had a common opponent. If he said we did, then it's very possible. We both competed internationally.
Well, let me clarify that. He said that the opponent that he fought, or that an opponent that beat you, he then beat, a couple years later.
It's possible. I'm not sure, but it's very possible. I definitely wouldn't call him a liar. I honestly didn't hear about him until, I was already professional, Lomachenko. So it's very possible that he's still competing against someone that I competed against.
Okay. It was a 2007. The guy name is Vasyl
from Russia. Okay. My last question. Thank you, Gary. My last question for Vasyl is, he had the goal coming into the pro game. He wanted to fight for the title as soon as possible. Try to make a little history by winning it in that second fight of his. Once that did not happen, was there ever a discussion on the team about let's ease up a little bit? No urgency. We didn't get the record. We didn't do it. So we're 1-1. Let's slow down a little bit. Obviously, by taking on Gary, you're not slowing down at all. What was there a discussion about doing that though? What's the urgency? I guess is the question.
У тебя была поставлена цель, чтобы во втором бою выиграть титул. Когда ты не выиграл этот титул во втором бою, были ли разговоры какие-то, что давайте сейчас чуть опустимся, давайте сейчас начнем опять набивать рекорд, посмотреть, что мы здесь есть. Но сейчас боксировать Герри Рассела, это точно не ступенька вниз, а еще ступенька вверх.
Ступенька вверх, потому что я не считаю Герри Рассела круче. Поэтому я хочу выстраивать лестницу, ступени, но мне предоставился шанс боксировать за титул, и тогда я не знал, что это будет. Без разницы, что это будет. Герри Рассел, либо еще какие-то ребята, топ-10. Мне предоставился шанс, я не воспользовался.
Well, I'm not putting kind of like a ladder. I'm stepping up or stepping down. I just had another chance to fight for the title, and this is my dream. My desire is to get one, and I have a chance, and of course I'm gonna take that. Then after the Toledo fight, I didn't know who it's gonna be. It's gonna be Gary Russell or somebody else. I didn't care. I'm gonna be fighting for the title.
Okay. Thank you very much, guys. Appreciate your time. Good luck in the fight.
Thanks, Dan.
No problem.
Our next question comes from Jake Donovan with BostonTV.com.
I just have two questions for Gary Russell. One is kind of piggybacking off what Dan asked earlier. Gary, was Vasyl ever on your radar, even whether it was in the amateurs or even once he turned pro a couple of years ago?
Like I said, in the amateurs, I've never heard of him. In the amateurs, the only time I heard of Lomachenko was once he had turned professional, and there was a possibility of me competing against him for the world title. Never ran across the amateurs at all.
Okay. And then I just wanted to ask you, you made the 2008 Olympic team, junior and the Olympics, and then turning pro, you came out as one of the best prospects, but then things were holding you back getting to a title. Was there ever frustration in your part, wondering you have all this talent to get, someone who's just holding you back from getting to the top level?
No. I never had any frustration. Like I said, my team and I, we had a game plan that we wanted to get the experience in as a professional. Like you say, you see these guys before that have been stellar amateurs, and can't make the necessary adjustment as a professional. We wanted to get the rounds in. We wanted to learn the ins and outs as a professional before we competed for a world title. We had a little minor hiccup here and there, but other than that, we stayed on course and we're right on track.
Okay, I'm sorry. I do have one more question. You caught a lot of slack for, I guess, people like expect you to level up opposition to be superior than what it is. There are guys that have turned you down on it, so I want to give you the opportunity. What fights have been negotiated where guys that you wanted to get into the ring and for whatever reason it just didn't happen?
No, we wanted to fight Juan Lopez. That never happened. We wanted to fight what's the guy, Johnny Gonzalez. He didn't take the fight. You know, he definitely tried to fight down a couple times on more than one occasion. You know, but it is what it is. I think everything in life happens for a reason. I think it worked out perfectly for me to win my first world title against Lomachenko.
Thanks a lot, Gary. I appreciate that. Best of luck on 21st. Vasyl, you answered all my questions, so best of luck to you as well.
Our next question comes from Percy Crawford with FightHype.com.
Hey, Gary, how you doing, man?
I'm doing pretty good.
I want to. We've talked a lot in the past, man, and you've always said that you don't watch too much boxing, and I know he doesn't have a lot of footage to watch, being that he only has 2 fights as a professional. But have you watched those 2 fights, and if so, what did you take away from them?
Honestly, the only fight that we did watch was the Salido fight. The first fight. No, you know what? I take it back. We did watch his first professional fight. And what I seen from it was that he still competes like an amateur. He still fights like an amateur that turned professional. He fights like an amateur that hasn't got the rounds in. I do think that he's talented. I think he's talented, but I think that he's overlooking the rounds that you have to get as a professional to get a certain experience in. You know, just to get experience as a professional.
And that's something you talked about here, is that you guys had a game plan. You told me a while back you wanted to get into the 20s before you shot for a title. Was that just to get, not only to get the season, but I know you wanted to test out your hands in the pro ranks, and now that they're a go, do you feel like now that you stayed that this is definitely the right time for this title fight?
Most definitely. This is definitely the right time for the title fight. Like I said, I can't stress it more. You know, and Lomachenko would probably understand where I'm coming from on this. You know, when you have these guys that are competing for the Olympics, what they normally do to familiarize that particular country, you know, with the other countries that are out there, they compete in duels. U.S. versus Kazakhstan, U.S. versus Cuba, U.S. versus this place, or whatever country that is. And the reason why is to gain experience, to familiarize yourself with different opposition. You know, and I feel as though for him to be an elite amateur, this is something that's going completely against what they will put you in the amateur, you know, but I guess we'll see how it works out for him.
And you said that June 21st can't get here quick enough. Obviously, you guys are ready for this fight, but both of you guys are poised fighters. What do you feel separates you guys from June 21st, being that you guys both had extensive amateur careers, you both are poised as pros, and for the most part, you both have gained somewhat. I know you've gotten more fights, but he's gained a lot of experience with his couple fights. What do you feel separates you guys on June 21st?
Oh man, I think my hand speed would definitely be a big factor. You know, I understand you could probably bring guys in, you know, you can probably bring guys in to somewhat mimic my style. But if they have the hand speed, they don't have the punching ability. If they have my punching ability, they don't have my hand speed. It's no way possible for them to duplicate what it is that I'm going to bring to the table on June 21st.
Well, man, best of luck to you, Gary, and I look forward to the fight, man.
All right, thank you. I appreciate it.
All right, and I have one from Vasyl as well. I want to ask him, does he feel like he gets unfair criticism? Because in one sense, you have the media saying Gary Russell is moving way too slow. And then in another sense, you have the media saying Vasyl Lomachenko is moved way too fast, or he didn't warrant or earn his shot. So does he feel the criticism that him fighting for a couple of titles and only 3 fights is kind of unfair and unwarranted, being that it's kind of a double standard?
That for you, Lomachenko.
Спрашивает, что одна сторона говорит медиа, что Герри Рассел двигается очень медленно. Другая сторона говорит, что Василий Ломаченко идет очень быстро. То есть где вот этот промежуток, как ты это видишь? Как ты думаешь, что медиа не очень сильно, потому что все говорят, что ты очень идешь быстро?
Ну, по боям, что ли?
Ну, мне боксировать за титул, за пояс.
Да. Дальше. Этот шанс он дает, может быть, да, а может и не получить этого шанса. Вот он может тренироваться, там около 5 лет, всю свою жизнь, боксировать, иметь талант, иметь все. Ну, не просто он судьбу этот шанс. Мне дали шанс, и я воспользовался им. Я хотел этого, мне дали. Я уверен в своих силах. Я знаю, что я смогу это сделать. Я постараюсь.
Well, not everybody has a chance to go so fast. And what I think I got the chance. I worked hard for it, and I think I earned it. And not again, somebody can fight 5 years and not have a single chance to get to fight for the title. I got, and I'm gonna do it. I'm confident I can do it, and I will try to do it.
All right, well, I appreciate it, man. The rest of my questions were answered, so thanks, guys. Good luck on the 21st.
Okay, that is our last question from the media, but I actually have a question for both of the fighters that I'd like to ask so we can have it on the record. So Sunday is Father's Day, and I'm not sure if Lomachenko knows the tradition here in America. We have a Father's Day every year, and this Sunday is Father's Day where everybody honors their dads. And I was at the Boxing Hall of Fame this weekend, and both Tito Trinidad, Oscar De La Hoya, and Joe Calzaghe all recognize their fathers for the role that they have played in their careers. I also understand that both Vasyl and Gary's dads are involved in their boxing careers, so I'd like to get a comment from both of you as to, and Gary maybe of course because you're here in America, what Father's Day means. You're also a dad, but how has your dad played a role in your career, and do you plan on doing anything special this Father's Day as you get ready for this fight? And then we'll ask Vasyl about his. Gary?
Oh man, my father played a very big role in my career. He's the painter.
Hang on one second. Gary, hang on a second.
Wait till Gary finishes and then ask Vasyl the same thing.
Thanks. It's hard to hear when you're talking.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Oh, no problem. Go ahead.
My father means a lot, man, when it comes to my career. He's the painter. I'm just the canvas. You know, I think a lot of times they give all the fighters the credit and forget about the coaches that, you know, has molded these fighters from the ground up. You know, I watched my dad put his life on hold to make sure that my life is you know, 100% correct. You know, and it means a lot. He taught me how to become a father, you know, to my little ones. You know, so he means a hell of a lot to me in my career, but more importantly, he means more to me than as a father. You know, so it means a lot, man. It's difficult when you have a dad who's also your coach, because sometimes they'll make me feel like the worst fighter ever in the gym. You know, we'll get home and he wants to sit down and watch a movie like he didn't just yell at me, you know. So it's definitely difficult, but we work on it and it's all right.
Okay, great. And do you have any special plans for this Sunday?
One of my only plans is to come home with this world title and let him have it.
Okay, great. Okay, and now Lomachenko?
I guess, can you translate the question to Vasyl?
Окей. То, что я говорил уже, это день отца. Как это?
России, Украине, Беларуси такого праздника нет. Что это воскресенье я перенесу праздник на 21 число.
The Father's Day here celebrates in the United States. Unfortunately, we do not have, not in Ukraine, not in Russia, not over former Soviet Union, we don't know that kind of a day. We do not celebrate. But from this Sunday, I'm going to move Father's Day to June 21st.
Okay, great. And what role has his dad played in his training? Because I know he's part of his team, right?
Какую роль в своей жизни сделал папа?
Есть все, что у меня есть. Дал мне детство, дал мне жизнь, дал мне жизнь, дал мне то, что во мне есть.
Everything what I have today, everything what is in me today, including my life, with Father. He's here next to me and he's always with me.
Okay. Thank you so much. That was really important for us and wonderful. We're going to be able to use that to help promote the fight too. So that was the last question, my question. How about that?
Break some news on the Neil Show.